Episode number 48 coming at your ears.
Good episode. A little lengthy, but a fantastic topic.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to get some takeaways out of this one. We touch on taking it from good to great and what that means for you and the client experience and how it can maybe get you to make some more money.
Making money is what it's about, and we really touch on getting those events and what we do to really strive to get those events, like what we're paying attention to and what we think you guys should pay attention to as well.
Right, and then we're going to get a little trendy with you all, talk some more wedding trends for this year, and at the end we're going to take it back to the music and basically get into some songs, make you feel old.
Look up some oldies. We're going to dive into some tracks and just see how old they are.
That's right.
That's cool.
So, should be fun.
Let's go ahead and jump in.
Let's go.
What's wapa? You've got your running errands, picking up wedding dresses. Wapa!
Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today.
You are now listening to Cutmaster Cast.
Yo. Welcome back, peeps, to another round of the Cutmaster Cast. This is your weekly dose of wedding industry insights. Welcome to season number 2, episode number 48. My name is Chris Romero.
And my name is Tony Pacheco. What's up, everybody?
What's up, you guys? We are DJs out of Albuquerque, New Mexico with Cutmaster Music. And on this pod, we like to explore our weekly events, wedding industry tips and hacks. And at the end of every episode, you know how we do.
We take it back to the music.
We always like to go back to the roots, back to our the core, the heart and soul.
I love that we've stayed true to that because it's the best part. And well, it's not the best part, but it's a lot of fun when we get to talk about music.
Right. So and we've got a new one that we're going to do with you all today. So make sure you stick around.
It's a good one.
Hang out to the end of the episode, and we're going to have some fun. And don't forget to share this episode and any other episodes you think are super helpful to your friends and industry peeps out there. You can find us on all socials at Cutmaster Music.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk events. We're still in we're riding the wave of slow season.
I actually got lucky. I got hit up for a birthday party at Marble downtown.
Ooh.
And it was cold, so we got to go inside.
Yeah.
It was beautiful because it was super windy on Saturday.
Right.
And so they asked us, the buddy who does the bookings at Marble, he said, "Are you available this Saturday?" And I was like, "Funny enough, I am. What do you got?" And he's like, "Can you DJ a private party? But we'll be kind of open to the public too." And I was like, "Sure. I don't have to promote it or anything." And he's like, "Nah, you're good. Just show up. We'll DJ for them. Some other people will be there too." And I was like, "Okay, cool, easy." So they provided all the sound. I just showed up with my DJ controller, and that was it. It was so nice because all I had to do was just plug in and DJ.
Yeah, you're like a radio DJ.
Yeah, well, they still danced.
Yeah.
And they were a lot of fun.
Oh, that's good.
But, I just didn't have to worry about sound. You know what I mean?
Right,
so they have a nice, sound system, so that was really fun. And, yeah, they were surprisingly a bunch of dancers. So we had a good little few dance sections, and people were loving it. Gave out a few cards. Saw an old groom couple from their wedding that I did last year.
That's always fun.
His little brother's getting married next year, and I was like, "Here you go, bro. Hit me up."
Bam, that's what we're talking about.
And so it worked out really well.
let's
That was
go.
fun. And then, what else? Oh, we saw Argyle. If you haven't seen Argyle, go watch it. It just came out this Friday.
Okay.
Good movie. Have you ever seen Kingsman?
No.
Kingsman is fun. It's a spy movie. They're spy movies. It's a modern-day spy movie. I think they've got 3 of the Kingsmen out now. But now they're going to do a spin-off, Argyle, and trying to create spy cinematic universes. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
So, yeah, it was a good movie.
So speaking of movies, I just watched that new documentary on Netflix. It just came out on the making of the We Are the World.
Oh, yeah, I've been seeing it ads out suggestion after suggestion. Is it good?
Dude, it was good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I had no idea.
Lionel Richie quarterbacking the whole thing?
Him and Michael Jackson.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Quarterback the whole thing.
Nice.
Stevie Wonder was supposed to be in on it, but he wouldn't answer their calls.
Oh, wow.
And then when it all came together, Stevie Wonder was like, "Why didn't you guys call me?" And they were like, "Well, we did. We've been trying, But that all happened in one night.
Wow.
After the American Music Awards.
That makes sense. It's so hard to get all these people together.
That's exactly what it was.
Nice.
How do we get everybody together? They really wanted Prince, and he didn't want to do it, so he wasn't a part of it. The whole thing was super cool. Like,
Nice.
and just
I'll have to watch it.
watch it. It's crazy. Like, a lot of them, they had no idea who they were going to be in the room with until everybody started showing up, and they were like, "Oh my
Nice.
god!" And Quincy Jones was like the mastermind behind
Okay.
it all, right? So,
Yeah.
and they just
Icons
all,
everywhere.
yeah, that's what it was. And they couldn't bring any of their assistants or managers or any of that into
Wow.
the room. It was only the artists. So it was a unique situation for them to be in this room where a lot of them had never even met each other. You know,
Yeah.
they knew of each other, obviously, because at the time it was like the hottest artist, that you could get.
Sure.
But for them to just be in a room together, nobody else, no distractions, super cool. Like, just
And there's a camera rolling. People, they have like footage of it.
they've got footage of yeah,
What?
they've got cameras rolling on everything. Just,
That's cool.
and so they actually bring in the cameramen that were one of them that was
They
there
were a part of it. Yeah.
that were part of it, and he's like, I'm like filming, and I've got Ray Charles,
Nuts.
Stevie Wonder,
Yep.
just like all
Lionel
these-
Richie, Michael Jackson.
all like right there, like
Yeah.
they're literally within
Was like Whitney Houston there?
touching distance. No, she I don't think was part of it.
Okay.
Um,
I'm just naming random.
I mean,
That come to my
crazy.
mind.
Kenny Loggins, Kenny Rogers.
Nice.
Heck yeah. It was really interesting to see how. What's his name?
Elton John?
No, Elton John was not there. It was. Oh man, he's a legendary music icon, and he sings like this. What's his name?
I have no idea.
Oh man, hold on.
And he sings like this.
Yeah, what? I'm having a brain fart while we're doing this. Oh my gosh, cast. It's gonna bug me. Bruce Springsteen was there. Part of it. He was actually just
Okay.
coming off of tour. Has to fly out there.
Nice.
Um,
Okay, well, while you think of it, I'm going to name off some of these artists.
Harry Belafonte.
Yep. Diana Ross,
She was a big part of it.
Willie Nelson,
Yep.
Bruce Springsteen,
Yep.
Kenny Loggins,
Um,
Daryl Hall.
yeah. Daryl Hall was in there.
Oates didn't make it.
He wasn't invited. apparently.
Huey Lewis.
Yeah. Oh, so Huey Lewis ends up. I know I'm giving some of this away, but it's still worth a watch.
Watch it. It's fun. Sure. I don't know. I'll watch it.
So he took Prince's part that
Ah.
he was supposed to have.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Cyndi Lauper,
yeah.
Bob Dylan.
That's who it is. Bob Dylan.
There you go.
So
Got it.
But watching Bob Dylan, it was interesting. So out of his element, like super uncomfortable. You can just see, like, the dude is like. He's in the middle of all of these.
He probably is the artist and has the control, and you know what I mean. Like he runs the show, and so when it's
you
not
could
his
just
show-
tell, yeah, like he didn't know how to fit his voice into it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Stevie Wonder basically has to play he's playing on the piano, right? And he starts singing the part of Bob Dylan like mimicking him, like in Bob Dylan's voice.
Oh wow.
And that's what it took for Bob Dylan to be able to get his part done
Stevie's
because
all,
he couldn't figure it
This
out.
is what you need to do. This is how you should sound.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So it was really cool, and he had like a verse.
See, we'll do that when we're me and some of our trainees. We've been doing that, right? So like,
right.
not to that extent, but we'll be DJing, and then I'll keep the da 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 da. See, keep that rolling, da ba da ba da da da, and then da 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 da, and then we're like, yeah, see how that can build and create more of a versus just cutting it right there, and so we'll do the same thing, kind of.
It's funny that you're doing that because Lionel Richie, this was the first time he had worked with Michael Jackson, and they're working on this, and they're actually writing the song together. And Michael Jackson doesn't know how to play any instruments or anything.
Oh, wow.
And he just hums everything.
Yeah.
And that's what he was
That's
saying.
cool.
He was like, but it was so cool. He's like, because I'm watching how he works, right? And he was like, yeah, and it needs to go,
Yeah.
you know, and he's like, and it's just that he's watching a genius at work, and this is the way his workflow is.
Yeah.
Then you got guys like Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder. I mean, it's unreal watching these guys. He just starts busting out on the piano, like
Yeah, just freestyling.
melodies,
Yeah.
freestyling.
That's cool.
It's cool when you watch.
They're all artists in their own way to create the gold.
Exactly. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen like Prince? There's a really cool just a YouTube video of him doing mic check before it's one of his shows.
Yeah.
And it's the band is out there and he's doing his mic check thing.
Yeah.
And he's like totally orchestrating and leading his band And he's like, okay, next one, go to the key of G or whatever. And then he goes, and then we're going to play this. And it's just like on the fly.
Yeah.
Him doing all of this stuff and creating this. It's like, oh my God.
That's cool.
He's playing on the guitar and then doing stuff on the piano and doing different chords. This is all before a show, like, right?
Yeah, just like random prep, you know?
And he was like, I think I want to do this, and let's go like this and try this. And it's like, oh, like, wow.
Yeah, the music mind kind of rolling. That's
music mastery,
cool.
man.
Mhm.
Like, it's so cool. I have so much admiration for those guys. They're icons for a reason, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So go watch it.
yeah, go check it out. That was a really long. That's a new segment that we're calling.
What movies are you
Cutmaster
watching?
movies.
Yeah, hey, we talking about them enough.
Yeah, so
I
that
like
was
movies.
good. So I had an event.
Where were you at?
I was here in the office
Nice.
on Friday. I think you probably
I made a little appearance.
you could probably hear me in your meeting.
You were fine. They didn't even notice. I told them, I was like, oh, he does a stream on Friday. So no. And they were like, oh, cool. How cool. And then, because I was like, yeah, we got a little studio back there. So they thought it was sweet.
Oh,
you
that's
know what I
cool.
mean? I think it's nice when other things are kind of happening around the office while you're meeting. It's not
Yeah.
intrusive, but it shows that, like,
We're busy.
we're busy. We're
working.
doing things. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had my Twitch stream, The Groove, on Friday. I'm going to do it again this Friday for those of you that want to go
Yeah,
check it
yeah.
out. Hit up twitch.tv, /Cutmaster Chris.
That's it.
So 6 o'clock Mountain Time. I usually go about an hour and a half. And it's nothing but just throwbacks and retro jams. So
Nice.
hop on the stream, make some requests. It's good fun. And really, I'm just doing it just to keep my DJing chops like
Stay
fresh,
fresh,
you
yeah.
know. So
Good practice.
it's good practice. I'm digging into the crates a little bit, trying to find different versions of like a lot of the songs that we would typically play, maybe at some of our events.
Yeah, it's kind of like just a practice mixing sesh, and you hit record, and you know what I mean. But it's better, right? Obviously, because you've got the visuals and all of that. You're engaging
Right.
with the crowd. But that's really what we kind of treat it as kind of like a music audit, a crates audit in a way, where you're just kind of going through and you're like, oh, this is experimental. Let's throw this in there. There's no wrong answers right now.
Exactly. So yeah, that's been fun doing that, and that was my event. I think we were up to like 20 or so viewers. You know what's been kind of
Hell
cool is we've had on the stream a lot of the people that used to listen to us during the pandemic
Yeah.
have been popping in and like, hey, good to see you, you
Nice,
know, and
yeah.
so it's been kind
Little
of
reunion.
a little reunion almost. It's been pretty fun.
That is cool.
Yeah. So it's time.
Oh,
We're gonna
yeah.
get tipsy again this week, you guys.
We're doing it.
We're getting tipsy, and we want to talk a little bit about how you go from good to great and basically providing a better experience and really how to make some more money, because I think that's what all of us want to do, right?
Hey.
Make a little bit more money and just, get better over time.
Yeah.
So this kind of stems from a few things I've seen on industry groups and just some posts lately where these posts that have been centered around pricing and like the value of services, and just like a lot of chatter. So I think like the pessimists on these posts like tend to say things like, oh, that won't work in my market.
Yeah.
Or, oh, nobody would ever pay that much. Nobody would pay that much where I'm at. I'm going to lower my prices to pick up more events. I actually saw one DJ recently say that. He's like, I don't care what you guys say. I'm lowering my prices to, I need to pick up more events. I've been seeing a lot of this as well. The wedding industry is a scam. They're ripping you off.
Well,
So a lot of this, to me, centers around the topic of value and being able to provide value. And then,
yeah, I'm like, you don't understand your value if you're calling yourself a scam. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I'm
right.
like,
or worth, right?
yeah.
So yeah, and we can address like some of these individually, because I think they take a little bit different direction depending. Like the scam thing
Yeah.
is kind of a whole other topic. But my thing is like, well, how do you provide a service that doesn't come off as that, right?
Yeah,
That doesn't feel
exactly.
like you're scamming someone. I don't think. I think if you're in this industry, most of us get in it because we're wanting to provide an awesome service, to people.
I am a little selfish in that I love the feeling I get helping others. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you give back to others and you get that feeling of a rewarding feeling. When I crush a wedding doing what I love and that I'm good at, and they are having the most immaculate day of their lives, and that's a really good feeling, right? And so of course I want to be the best and do that, right? And so it's I am selfish in that way because I strive for that. I want that feeling because it's good for everyone.
I totally agree. And I mean, how many other, jobs? I know I've been in plenty of jobs in the 9 to 5 corporate world.
I've never felt this.
Where, you just don't get that gratification, right? Like you put in so much work and effort, you might put your all into something, but you just don't feel the gratitude. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I was a teacher. I was a high school teacher for 4 or 5 years. And talk about a thankless job, man.
Yeah.
It's just like you go day in, day out. You're dealing with students. A lot of times your admin maybe isn't great. And just
It's the theme you hear all the time of teachers are our heroes, and they're unsung, they're doing overwork, underpaid, all of that stuff.
I see so many that are so great, and they don't get a lick of recognition, and then they don't get the pay doesn't match. And our system here in New Mexico, you top out. It's a tiered system.
Yeah.
So no matter how much more time and maybe experience or professional development that you put in, you're just not going to get paid more unless somebody over in the legislature gives you a raise, right? And that never sat well with me. So I think we're in a unique spot, right? Like an industry where I think a few different things. You can definitely get out what you put in. I think those that put in the time, the effort, they're trying to get better, you'll see and reap the rewards of that over time, right?
Yep.
But I think the first thing that I really want to get into, like doing a deeper dive with this, is if you're newer into the industry, or maybe you've been even doing this for a few years now, and you're wondering, man, like you might feel like you're plateauing or tabling out, and what can I do? Like, what can I do to get better? What can I do to get more events? How do I get more leads? How do I make more money doing this, right? And I think the first thing for me is starting with your skill, right? Your skill set, and really getting good at whatever it is that you do, whatever your niche is, right? So for us, it's DJing, it's playing music.
Yeah.
And so breaking it down to actually like, okay, well, what would make a great actual DJ?
Yeah.
And for us, I know we put a lot of emphasis on music curation, playlist curation, like vibe curation, that sort of thing, and music programming, right?
Yes.
I think is at the heart of what we do by pressing that play button.
Yeah, it's more of just like, it's not just playing songs at a certain time, but it's crowd reading, understanding what certain songs go certain times, bringing certain songs in, and different, like really understanding there's a science to playing towards an older crowd or towards the earlier parts of the evening because they get tired. And then as the night progresses, it goes into a different style of music, whatever that may look like, right? We pay attention to all of those little things because that's our job, but then also doing research on the new things, finding ways to stay fresh, and making sure that we are always on top of the biggest trends, because DJing is such an interesting thing that you really do have to stay pretty fresh on. I feel like
at some point you do, right? Because so think about like what the throwbacks are right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, so our couples, the average age for most weddings is always going to be in the mid 20s, right? To like your early 30s.
Yeah.
So that never changes, but the people like change, and the years and the genres and change. So like right now, our brides that are getting married, their parents are my age.
Yeah.
Right. And so our jams
2014, 2015, 2016 stuff is hitting.
Yeah. For those brides. So that's their recurrence.
Yeah.
But their oldies, which their parents like now, are the 90s, right?
I mean, it's now in even 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like when I've heard oldies as 2000s now. Nelly, Jay-Z, all of these are when I'm hearing is categorized, right? Like couples are telling me that. I'm like, okay, I got you. I can understand that. You guys are younger, so especially even now with the high school kids too.
Can you play some oldies like a Dr. Dre and Biggie Smalls?
Yeah. It's sad, but I mean, even then, like it's the 90s now are not hitting like they were 5 years ago.
No, I totally agree. So you're right. At the core, that's like the baseline that you've got to be able to do.
We do all that.
Is be able to program music, right? But then you take it further. Okay, so then what makes it the actual skill of DJing, right? So things like beat matching. Now, I think you're going to see your better DJs, your great ones, have actual skills on the DJ decks, like beat matching, a little bit of scratching, quick mixing, phrasing,
Acapellas, understanding stems.
using stems, right?
It's huge now.
Wordplay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are all like deeper dives, and that's going to take you to the next level than just your average DJ that's going to play every song for 5 minutes, then stop, then hit play again. I mean, you can get a Spotify list that will do that for you, right?
Now with the crossfade feature and all of that, you can almost emulate it,
Right. So I feel like if you can get really, really good and become at least like a almost master level of your skill, that immediately is going to make you more valuable, right?
It's true. And then I feel like what we do is we set that as our standard, and then we figure out, okay, what else can make us better in our market, right? So for certain examples, like a high school dance, I'm going to do more research on remixes, different things. But for a wedding, okay, how do we figure out how to make our timeline work out better for our event, right? How are we improving our MC skills to better command a crowd? All of these things we're thinking about to make sure that we're elevating all of our skills that are next level than just the DJ as well. Like we do all of that, and then okay, well we're better because we're working on our MC skills too, and all of those other things that people aren't thinking about.
So you got to become great.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
You got to become great at whatever it is you do. So I always tell my kids, like, if you want to put relating to sports and basketball, okay, if you want to play, you need to be in the top 5 on your team. So it's very similar, right?
Yeah.
Like we're in a market, we're all playing in the same game.
Yep.
All right. And if you want to be one of the top preferred vendors, one of the top highest paid vendors, because here's another thing I've always said, the best tend to typically get paid the best.
Yep.
And you should, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that makes sense. The best deserve to be paid the most.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to be top 5 on or if you want to get playing time on the basketball team, you need to be in the top 5.
Yep.
So I think you need to at least be striving to be the best, right? You're always trying to improve, and then to maintain. Just because you're really good today, and in the top 5, you go and have a bad game, you go and have a bad event, you can just like that get put on the bench, right?
Yep, exactly.
So I think there's just too many people, and I see this at least in the DJ industry, and this is as a whole, maybe not locally, but on the whole, like we've got too many people that are okay with being mediocre, like just being okay. Like we said, the baseline, being able to hit play and just play songs, and they think like that's
people get comfortable,
right?
If it's working,
totally.
You
get comfortable, and it just. You got some people giving you some money. Maybe somebody paid you, and now you kind of get this overinflated idea of like, okay, what I do works.
Mm-hmm.
In our vertical, being a great DJ, mixing, being great on the microphone, like you said, I think being super organized and putting your clients at ease, right?
Yeah. Caring about the client enough to give them tools for organization, asking them questions so they can feel better organized, and even giving them levels of thought where they're like, oh, we didn't even think about that, right? I think I've talked about it in the past where I'll have a planning meeting, and then they'll go to other meetings better prepared for those meetings because I asked questions that they didn't even think they would need to ask.
Right.
So that's what we do, and that's what you all should strive for in whatever kind of market you guys are in, and trying to help them feel that they really are getting every single dollar worth of your time, energy, whatever that may be. I've got 20 other brides, 20 other couples, but when I have them for their meeting, I'm locked in. I've done my prep 30 minutes before. I'm making sure I have all of the things I need so that they can feel that level of importance, right? Just doing those things for them.
Yeah, and I think that just reemphasizes, like, that's a skill.
Yeah.
That's a skill. Even like
I had to learn that.
Yeah, prepping for meetings, you get better over time. Like
you show up to a meeting and you don't know nothing, and you're like, oh, maybe I should have thought about this 30 minutes beforehand. This was years ago, but yeah, things like that.
I mean, I know that there's companies out there that actually they'll send out DJs.
They don't even have meetings.
They don't even have meetings. Like, so
That's
the owner of the company is taking an inquiry, and they're taking in all the information, maybe even gathering all the playlist curation and stuff, and then they just hand off a sheet to their DJs, and they go out. And they
show up day of.
Yeah, I mean,
great. I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
I couldn't do that.
So I feel like, getting the skill set up to great, is also going to go a long way. So then once you're good with that, right? That's to me is when the leads start to come in. Why?
It's true.
Because other vendors notice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, other vendors notice. So when you start doing all of these things at a really high level, your events, like your DJing, right? Your dance floors are always packed. Your MCing is great.
You're organized.
You're organized. You're out there lining up the wedding party beforehand and getting all the names correct, and everything just goes smoothly. This is when other vendors start to love working with you, and guess what happens? They start referring you.
They recommend you.
They recommend you. They refer you more. And, you know, besides your immediate friends and family, the referrals directly from other vendors, venue coordinators, those are going to be your best source of leads.
Oh, yeah.
Those are your best source, you know. If
They're
you
the ones in the weeds,
right,
you know.
if you make life easier for venues and event coordinators, they will refer you because it makes their event successful.
Yes. If you're making their life easier, then they're in turn going to make sure that you're hired for their events because they want their event to be run smoothly. They want it to be easier in totality, right? So that's why you should always strive for that because, yeah, you want it to be perfect. They want it to be perfect. So it's easier if they know this job will be done the exact way I want it if we hire this person versus another.
And that's a skill in and of itself as well, and being able to work with others. You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of things that have to happen there. So at the heart of that, I think number one is being nice and,
For real.
and kind. So I think there's too many people, especially in our industry, that are out there that are my way or the highway types.
I'll hear stories from local vendors, and I'll just be like, what?
Like, why, right?
Why?
Yeah.
Don't make sense.
No,
you know?
exactly. You know, and honestly, I feel like we work with a lot of great ones. Like,
We're lucky.
I feel like most of the
I never have a problem.
we don't have those issues, but we're not at every event, right? Like, we don't get to see all the other DJs. I don't get to see all the other planners, all the other florists, or whoever's involved in making these weddings happen. I know that we tend to work with a lot of the same vendors at the weddings we do, and there's probably a reason for that too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, I mean, being nice, being kind, being flexible, being able to adapt.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know,
Especially on a wedding day.
it just like those are just simple things, right? Like, I don't think it's rocket science. But just being able to do all of those things and coordinate with others and be flexible, I mean, just makes life so much easier and better for everyone. It's like keep the waters flowing.
Yeah.
Like easy.
I always get so confused and frustrated when I do hear those stories because I'm like, what? We have, like, it's pretty easy for us to do these things. Like, an example was you said you line the wedding party outside the doors. Vendor comes up, asks the DJ to do it, and they're like, no, I don't do that. What? I'm not going to do that. And it's like, it's not that hard.
One thing, this bugs me, that I hear from a lot of DJ groups.
Yeah.
This is so stupid to me, is dismissing tables for dinner.
Yeah, they're against it. I've seen that.
I mean, so many DJs are like, that's not my job. I'm not supposed to dismiss table. You have a microphone, dude.
Yeah, you're
Like,
the MC.
Now, I get it. I'm not a big fan of the whole.
I don't like doing it over the microphone.
Johnson, party of 10. It's your turn to go to the buffet.
I will never do that.
No.
I'll say that.
But that's what it feels like, right? Sometimes.
I'll walk up to each individual table and say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are ready, you can go ahead and make your way.
And that's the way I like to do it as well.
Way more intimate,
So that-
private.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like the whole restaurant, like,
Not the voice of God. Yeah, restaurant.
you know, but it just
Funny.
depends. But I'll do it if they want.
Yeah.
If they want, and sometimes they'll come up to me and say, "Hey, could you just announce table by table? Here's the number of tables, whatever." Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Like, and it's
Happy
not,
to do it if that's what
happy
they
to
want.
do it. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I can make it as professional as I can, right,
course,
without
yeah.
seeming
Yeah.
cheesy, whatever, things like that. So yeah, just like little things like that.
Yeah.
that are
We're
just
happy to do it. If it's a day of thing, they throw it at us. Let's go for it. What you need. I'm happy to help you.
right. Which leads me into my next one, basically, is that you've got to check your ego. All right?
Mhm.
So just because you were referred out this week doesn't mean you're going to be referred out next week. And all it takes is one major mess up. I talked about this earlier, and just to lose trust and confidence. You know, you have to be great every single time.
Yeah.
And we talk about that, right? What is every weekend?
The Super Bowl, baby.
Every weekend's a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And this weekend, it really is the Super Bowl.
It is, actually. But every single weekend is the Super Bowl.
We feel like every weekend is
There's
the Super
no room for error.
Right.
Really.
Got to be on your A game all the time. But the great thing about this is like once you get into a flow,
Yeah.
and you're doing things great at a high level all the time. It's just that's who your makeup becomes as a company, as a business, as a DJ, as an assistant, as a whatever. Anybody that's a part of your company, there's a standard, and this is just the way we do things, right?
Your prep work becomes who you are, and then you start becoming how do I say it? Like, you're becoming more prepared. And so, like, when you have all of these weddings, you have these systems in place that allow you to do it at such a high level, and you're able to streamline it where you can easily organize your music to where you can handle so many events and all of that. And yeah, it's super helpful. And yeah, I think it's a big thing to check your ego at the door, because it almost is worse when you've established this trust with a vendor and then you bomb. It's
Absolutely.
like, dude, what the heck? You've been my guy, and where did this come from? Right? It's unprofessional, and it looks honestly worse when they are trusting you and you do act bad.
It's like your girlfriend stabbing you in the back.
Exactly. For real. No good.
So yeah,
it is though. That's a good comparison, because it feels like that they trust you. They this is somebody's major day, and then you bomb for whatever reason.
Right.
That makes them look bad.
That's a lot, and it makes a lot of people look bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I would say don't fall into the trap of comfort. Comfort is the enemy of greatness, you guys. You know, that's that. If there's any advice, you know, you can't, once you fall into the bed of comfort, that's when usually we call it, having slipping, basically, right? That's when you slip up.
Yeah.
Because you're comfortable. So it's real easy to forget things, or just, I don't know, like, I know I'm not saying I want you to always be uncomfortable, and you've got to get to a point where things become routine, but you always, you got to stay sharp.
It's important to challenge yourself. Keep working on improving, even if it's something little every year, making sure that you're actively learning, because it does help with your overall like brain longevity, learning things, taking new information in versus just watching the same old stuff, same old content, reading the same stuff, hearing the same things. Your brain is actively working with more receptors when it's taking in new information. So that's just really good for you in the long haul too, in terms of just overall health.
Absolutely. Okay, so once you become great, you're going to get more leads, and you're going to become in higher demand.
The good stuff.
This is where the Holy Grail kind of happens. All right.
Land, yeah.
And what does that equal? Greater value. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you become great. You're going to start. The leads are going to start coming in, and they're going to be high quality leads because they're coming straight from your vendors that you work with.
Yep.
Venue coordinators. It's like, these are the people that you want, right? From your past events.
Yes.
We saw you at an event. We saw Tony. We want him.
It was like my marble. I saw the past groom. My little brother's getting married. Let me get your card.
There you go.
Got you.
So it equals more value for you. Our inventory is dates. It's not gear. Yeah. That is a huge thing. And that's a lot. That's, goes through other verticals in our industry as well. All right. So a lot of DJs will come in and they think, because I offer uplights now, I need to charge per uplight, or I need to charge per microphone or per speaker and things like that. Honestly, your gear that's not what brings you value.
A lot of these DJs have the same gear.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's all uplighting, whatever.
Well, and at the end of the
different.
day,
we have a lot of different gear from a lot of other DJs, but at its core, we all can provide uplighting of some sort.
But what is gear used? What
exactly?
Is it? It's a tool.
Yeah.
Like, uplighting is not. We don't get bookings because, oh my God, you guys have the best looking uplights.
Yeah, it's true.
No, it's because I was at an event recently with you guys, and the room was changing colors with the music and the lighting.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was so cool,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It sounded good. They don't care what kind of speakers you have.
Mm-mm.
It sounded great, or it sounded crappy.
Yeah.
You
People will know when it sounds bad, right? You've got your speakers busted, bad microphone drops, or different things like that. People will notice if it sounds bad. They're not going to notice if it sounds great. They probably could, but your average consumer they're just going to be comfortable and enjoying it. But if it sounds bad, people will make a note.
They will know, right? So yeah, I mean, we're not selling gear. Your inventory are your dates.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too. The wedding industry is sold on people and relationships, and that's what we're kind of getting at here. You know, they're not buying us for gear. They're buying us for DJ Zia.
Mm-hmm.
They're buying us for me, for Victoria, for our DJs. That like now you're investing in what the person is and what they're bringing to the table with the experience that you get with that person, which is all the stuff we talked about earlier, the beat matching, the music curation, the emceeing, all that time and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. And connection is just so huge. We talked about it last week with your photographer, right? Spending the whole day with them. So making sure that that connection is big. But then also, too, having an MC who does understand your look, your feel of your wedding event, because they do reflect what you want your wedding day to look like. If you go with somebody like Brad King, you're going to want somebody high energy, engaging with the crowd, and really getting the crowd going with him in it. Everybody's going, right? Now, if you want somebody who just wants to be playing or is playing more music and just do more of announcements in a professional way that makes it about the couple, you know, that's something a little bit more around our route where we make it around about them and we are professionally delivering those things, right? But there's different styles, and that's important because DJs represent different styles. There's different DJs for different events. And so all of those are really made off connections with people, not off of like how a food is prepared, if that makes sense, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think your DJ, your wedding planner, your photographer, a lot of these wedding vendors are really important on connection. And so it's really important to make sure you are connecting with people as you're like your vendors, your clients, and just making sure you're really being your authentic self.
And that means you need to figure out who your ideal client is.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you that are newer coming in or just trying to figure it out, you need to figure out who it is that you want to work for. All right. If you are someone, and I know I fell into this trap early on too, and it's kind of hard, especially when you're new. You have to kind of take everything that you can get.
Appreciate taking everything in the earlier years.
And in all honesty, you probably should. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that you shouldn't, but during that time, I think your first few years are super crucial because you need to figure out who your ideal client is.
Doing every single wedding is going to give you the direction on which ones you want and which ones you don't. So you just have to go, you got to do them.
And then you need to figure out, do they also want to work with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my ideal client. I love working for this type of person. Do they also like working with me, right? And that's when the magic happens, is when you can figure that out and you start and you marry those two together and it all works out, and then the 5-star reviews start coming in. They start rolling in, and then you start getting more people that are just like them because they start referring you out, right?
Like if they're going in wanting a specific style, you give them that exact style. You've made this connection. It's amazing. So then all you got to do is ask for a review. And then boom, 5 stars. It's so perfect when you are able to align that way, because then it's easier. You can really have that connection of almost a friendship and really help develop those reviews and that rapport and all that.
Right. And I'm going to talk about reviews and testimonials. We're going to finish up with that in a minute. But there's one more thing here that I do want us to kind of discuss. And, you know, I think you need to also find out and figure out, and you can do this during the early on period. But I think you kind of need to just refine this over time as well and be doing this on always, and you got to find out what makes you and your services unique and different. All right. So DJs, for example, on paper, we all look the same. All right. If you go to every DJ's website, you probably see people with their hands in the air.
Yep.
A lot of them put gear and equipment up there. All right. Things like that. So the problem with that is if everyone looks the same, then what does the client use as the differentiator?
Yeah.
Price.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So then it becomes a race to the bottom. So if all your DJs on paper out there all look the same, then all a client's going to do is call and ask for is, well, then
which one's the cheapest?
Yeah, who's the cheapest?
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes a race to the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you offer something that's different, that's unique, that's seen as an elevated experience, okay, that's different from the others, if you enhance their event in some way, then you become seen as different, right?
Mm-hmm.
If your events are seen as an elevated experience and something that will elevate another vendor's experience, like a planner or maybe a florist or a photographer,
make your
maybe
life easier.
Your like for us, right?
The lights. Yep.
The lighting. We have lighting. We use these pixel tubes, and yeah, they're unique in the look, so that that's great, and that was something that was into consideration when we first bought them.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing about these tubes is that they're used and really that they're made for the movie industry.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes pictures and video look awesome.
So
How
good,
many
yeah.
times in videos, right? Videographers, they complain about DJ lights all the time because they flicker.
Yeah, or they just have them on and they're just what do we say, spew and spew or what?
They're spin and pukes.
Spin and puke, yeah. So they're just vomiting light, all of these different colors. That's just lasers and circles, and it just looks awful. And it's also so centralized. It's typically like not nice and spread out, looking good aesthetically, and so that can get really frustrating when you're a photographer or videographer trying to get a nice shot, and all you've got is this big blue image of them on their big blue circle on their face or
Right.
something.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen
Oh my
pictures of the
God.
couple, and she's
Just
got
snowing.
green dots all over her dress, you
Yeah.
know, or their faces are red, or
But seeing that's why we strive to help be better for our vendors and all of that, because then it makes it easier.
right. If you elevate another vendor's experience, then you are more valuable, and those
Exactly.
vendor referrals will do the selling for you, right?
Yeah. And then those couples are honestly going to figure out, if they see the value, they're going to move their budget elsewhere. They're going to figure out ways to get you on board so that they can still afford whatever they need to afford, but then cut costs somewhere else because they need you there.
Well, and I don't know how many times, we'll be in the discovery portion of, learning about somebody's event and having our first initial interviews and things like that with them. And we're talking with them about a lot of these things, like the lighting, for example, and just things that they hadn't even thought about. So when you tell them, look, our lighting, and then we're going to show them examples, right? Right here in the office, we've got, pictures hanging up that Talitha, generously brought in and put on these beautiful.
They're like nice glass thin.
It's not glass. I think it's like is it tin?
Yeah,
It's
I can
like
see that.
It's like
It's
a tin,
metal.
like a metal.
But the photo's clean.
They are
bright,
they are-
vibrant.
They are beautiful.
Yeah.
Shouts to Talitha Taro. Photography, and then we can tell them, right? Like, look, this is the way our lighting will make your pictures look.
Yeah.
This is the way our lighting will make your video look.
Mm-hmm. And it's nice because they can really envision themselves in that moment. So we show them the photo and we say, look, this is what you guys can look like. This is you guys in that moment. And they're like, wow. Yeah, and they really see the color and all of that. They're not thinking about how many uplights are there.
Right.
They're not thinking about what machine are you using to make it snow. They're just saying, oh my God, it's snowing in there. How amazing,
How did you
right?
do-
How did you do that? Right, of course.
Yeah.
But that's what it speaks to, is the feeling they get, not how they're thinking of line iteming, logistical things, or technical aspects of that. They don't care. They want to know, how are you going to make me feel on this day?
Absolutely. Okay, the final one. To the testimonials. Okay, so you've done all this. You've become great. You're getting the leads are flowing in, right? You're in the holy grail where basically you are picking out your clients.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the ideal client. We're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing us.
Yep.
And we've decided, okay, we're available. We go and crush these events, right? And now you get these high praise reviews. So a lot of people, you might go to, Google and see Cutmaster Music's reviews and be like, well, they're all 5-star, we're not writing those. And I think those are the best types of reviews, right? Are these testimonials that are third party, not on my website where I can control it and I can put whatever I want, say whatever I want about us. But I love having the third party Google reviews from the New Mexico Wedding Collective, where people have to go in and write. And that's where you're going to find out, like, what is this company,
What it's like hiring us.
what it's really like, right? And I think being able to get not just reviews that are 5-star and there's nothing said, right? Because it's like, I don't know.
Those don't really feel as valuable, or
No.
like as you're like, okay, cool, and then you just go to the next. When I'm looking at reviews on Amazon, I'm looking for the ones with photos, video, or
What do they say?
what are they saying? Yeah,
Right?
I
What do
don't
they
care.
say about this product, right?
Exactly,
What do they
yeah.
say about DJ Zia?
Mhm.
And then they go in and they're telling you all these great things, like, it's so professional. We're always on time. Blah blah. All the cool
We
stuff.
dance the night away,
Dance
right?
the night away. Our guests are still talking about it.
Yep.
So, yeah. If all of your testimonials,
Couples read that, they're like, oh, we have to have them. you
right?
know?
If all your testimonials become 5-star, high praise reviews, then price becomes less relevant. All right. Especially with the higher budget weddings, because people are going to pay the most for what they perceive as the best. Plain and simple. They will have the means, and many times they even want to be seen as paying for the best, right? Like it's so funny how many people, just no matter what, like across the board,
Status thing.
they want the best, and they perceive the best to be the most expensive. It's just the truth, right?
And that's why it's important to strive for it, because there is a market out there where people want the best. And if you can prove it with reviews, other staff, all of these different things we've talked about, it only makes sense for them to write a check. You know what I mean? It's very easy for them to write a check after that.
Totally. And in our industry, the saying is true. You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
All right. And if you find somebody that's like great value, might be newer, but they just absolutely kill it, they're not going to stay at that lower price for long.
Yep. You got lucky.
Yeah, you got lucky. And that.
Write them a review if that happened.
Right. Yeah. Well, because eventually you figure out, as a florist, as a planner, as a DJ, as a photographer, what your value and what your worth is.
Yeah.
And I've always said, people in our industry, they charge their worth. All right.
Yep.
If you find someone that's cheap and they crushed it, then we just said you got pretty lucky. You might be caught them early on, but as soon as they figure it out, that price is going to go up because they're going to be in higher demand. Yeah. It happens to all of us. When you start getting the inquiries and you're getting 10, 15, 20 inquiries for a single date, and you're like, dang, I booked that thing out for $500.
Yup.
And you could have booked it out for $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
That hits home pretty quick.
I mean, that was a big transition for me too, where you go from like nightlife, making your $150 plus bar tab, and then you're like, dang, I could make like $2,000 on a Saturday instead of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the other thing too. So if you're in this industry and you're looking to level up, nobody's going to level up for a lower price.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
so true. Exactly.
You're spending all this time, energy, money to make a better product, a more higher quality product. You're going to increase your value.
Mm-hmm.
Your worth comes up, right? But not all businesses are created equal. Not all businesses have the same overhead expenses and things like that. I would say I used to be one of the cheaper guys, 15 years ago. The cheaper guys tend to work out of their homes. They've got lower end gear. And they're just not providing the same level of service as a higher end company, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going to have to expect to pay a premium for the consistently referred top tier wedding vendors, plain and simple.
It's true.
And that goes for all verticals.
I feel like, yeah, that's in any business anywhere. That's just like one of the core business things is good people get paid the best for what they do.
Right. So anything else you got to add to this?
No, I would say just keep working hard, y'all. Keep practicing, making sure you're doing what we tell you in terms of like getting reviews, right, stuff like that.
Get great, right?
There's a lot of value in making connections through people, through vendors. And yes, you can get a lot done through the internet these days, but hands down, our biggest referrals are still word of mouth vendors.
Yep.
And we have everything else to give us credibility. They're still getting stuff off websites. Just today, saw your website, loved your Instagram, would love to talk. Right? We're like, boom, cool. But even then, we have other couples who are looking at their vendors. So that's what I would say. Making sure you're having connections with your vendors. Start there.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. All right, we're going to get trendy. This is a segment that we call Let's Get Trendy. And what we want to talk about today when it comes to trends, I am pulling up an article here. And this is from Martha Stewart. All right. And Martha Stewart has come out with their 17 wedding trends.
Martha.
Yeah, that you'll expect to see everywhere in 2024. So we're not going to go through all 17 of these. We're just going to kind of scroll through and pick out the ones that we think are, they kind of stand out to us. Mm-hmm. And then let's talk about them a little bit. So the first, actually, number one, they're expecting more intimate, low-key weddings.
It's probably cheaper.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, that makes sense. You got all these people that you think you should invite, and then you're like, you know what? Why don't we I mean, it goes just along the line of spending more on your guest and putting your guest at the forefront, because then if the lower the number of your guest count, the higher amount I guess you could spend on them individually for whatever that may mean, so you can give them a better experience overall. So having a lower end guest count makes sense.
Yeah, and I think in this case though too, when they're talking about more low key. It makes me actually think of like Los Poblanos, where Los Poblanos has they've cut their maximum guest count down, right, to like 60 or 80 now.
But they're also $20,000.
Well, but the experience, right?
Exactly.
Right. So they're looking to give these more intimate guest experiences, which is what I think they're alluding to here. Is that, you know, when they say low key, it's more like, let's just invite the people, the family and friends that are closest to us, that mean the most to us, and keep it centered around that, as opposed to these big, huge bashes of 300, 400, 500, 600 people, right?
Yep.
So, number 2, we've talked about this on the pod on previous trends. The seated and relaxed bridal party.
I don't get this. What is this?
Okay, it says the bridal party continues to evolve, landing somewhere between no bridal party and a bridal party without traditional responsibilities. There's a shift in how brides spend the wedding day with their favorite ladies, and it's all about the guest experience. More and more ladies are relaxing in the bridal suite, selecting their own dresses, and sitting during the ceremony. So I think this kind of goes along that line
Talked about
of
it last week.
Right, of not having as many people in the bridal party. And
Okay, I understand now.
That
makes so much sense, though. You still want your girlfriends all around, but you don't want to have to say who's important and who's not.
Right.
So and that's really cool, because then, say you wanted to have 5 bridesmaids, but you've got 10 girlfriends. You can invite all 10 girlfriends to come watch you get ready. Come hang out with us.
Yeah, come hang out in the
We'll have
the suite.
mimosas. We'll get ready. You know, I mean, I don't know how all that works, but like they can get ready together, and that's like a fun thing where they're not leaving out some of their friends or something. Like
Right.
that. So that's cool.
Cool. A little bit further on down the list here, this one, I think we've already started to see some of this, and I definitely think we're going to see more of it, which is more outfit changes.
Yes. I love outfit changes.
Yeah, and something that I just saw, and I'll probably post in a later episode, they are starting to see with the brides' dresses that it's like a multi-dress, basically, where you pay for one dress, but then there's layers to this dress where, you can take off the, the big poofy part on the bottom, and you're not have to worrying about bustling and things.
I'm thinking
like
of like NBA sweatpants. You know how they used to get it?
And now.
Yeah, right. And they just take it off. But that makes so much sense. It's multifunctional.
Right.
You can have a nice, beautiful, elegant look for all of the formal moments.
They're saying that these dresses can turn into like 3 to 4 different dresses throughout the night.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, so like
I
it
was thinking
basically
2.
it gets like shorter and shorter.
Okay.
So like you've got like the more formal, that you're walking down the aisle to, and then you take off that layer.
Cocktail dress or whatever.
Exactly. They were saying then you got the cocktail dress, and then and
then your party dress.
Right. So like I know
our
bride for the New Year's Eve wedding, she did a change, and I feel like we've just been seeing more and more of that.
Absolutely love a change. Whenever they do it, I think it's such a fun way for them to kind of ignite that it's party time. You can reintroduce them as they come back in during the open dance portion.
Different looks for pictures.
There's so many fun different ways to really liven it up. And that's what's cool about the second outfit look is there's no expectations. Everybody's going to be expecting you to be wearing a suit and a dress or whatever you wear on your wedding day. There's certain expectations for the formal stuff. But then I had a couple who they came in with shorts and hoodies, but they matched, and it had groom, bride, and it was fun, right? But it was more relaxed because they didn't want to be wearing all that formal stuff while they're partying.
Right.
And so, that's what's cool about the outfit changes. There's a lot more options, and it really opens it up.
It reminds me, actually, on New Year's, one of the groomsmen, he ripped his pants. It was like early on, like in the night.
That's hilarious.
It ripped his pants, and then I look out on the dance floor a little bit later on. He was in shorts, like the pants. Yeah. It was the pants, but he cut them. He cut them and turned them into shorts.
If he already, if you're renting them and you already got to pay for them, they're already done. Might as well.
I don't know if they were rented or not. Like,
Typically, when you're a
you know.
groomsman, you're renting. They'll give you whatever
Right.
suits unlimited or what. But like, if they're already ripped, you're like, "Pff,
they
I
were
already got to pay for them.
they were all jaggedy, all. It was so funny.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
That's one way to do an outfit change.
Yeah, right.
Get some scissors.
Okay, so the next one talks about that they think one of the trends this year is going to be more emphasis on the guests.
Yeah.
All right,
That makes
so
sense.
it says here that this year it's about the guests. More and more, I'm seeing a trend towards making things easy and fun for wedding guests. I think couples have become less focused on themselves as the center of attention and want guests to have a special experience, which just goes on to what we've been saying
Yeah.
in earlier podcasts, right?
It makes so much sense because when the guests think about their experience, that's what makes it memorable. And that is at the core of what every single couple wants their wedding to be, is memorable. We ask them all the time, what do you want from your wedding? We want it to be fun, memorable, and we dance the night away or whatever. But that memorable is almost always in there. And I feel like when you can focus more attention on the guest experience, they're going to pull things from their memory that allows them to be like, oh, I danced the night away. Oh, remember those cocktails we had? Or
We talked about the in-betweens
yes,
earlier, right?
exactly, right? Paying attention to those things so that the guests can really feel that experience and have those memories to where it's different, unique.
Yep.
All the fun words.
Okay, number 7. This one might be our favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Blow it out after parties.
I love this idea. I love that they're saying blow it out after parties. And your reception at 9. Do it.
Right.
And throw a banger after party. Like, have a really nice formal thing. It's fun. Country, cocktail hours. You got your sunset photos. Everybody's having fun. Maybe a little bit of September. And then we're done at 9. Go to the other room, and we're going to party till 1, 10 to 1. You know what I mean? A sick party. Put your bar over there. You can have some drinks or different things, but really emphasize that we're not done. This is just our formal, and then let's go.
I know we did a few after
think that could
parties
be
last
sick.
year.
Yeah, after parties are fun.
But this is like the first kind of wave or first time I've really seen the after parties come to the weddings.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we're gonna start seeing more and more of it for sure.
I love this.
I dig it.
I'd say go for it. After parties all day.
All right, moving on a little further down the list, they've got number 12 here it says nods to a retro revival. So
Totally.
we've talked about this as well, you know, that couples are looking to add these kind of throwback elements. We talked earlier about photography and how you've got couples right now, the search engines are way high for couples that are searching for film photographers. You know, so I think, the nods to the throwbacks.
Well, it's interesting too. Like the top, the rise in digital camera trends are going up way high, but it's not your traditional Canons. It's your low quality,
right,
little
like point and shoots.
Little handhelds that were like $50-$60 at Best Buy back in the day. They are massively on the rise now.
The Polaroids.
People want the Polaroids. People want those old 50 megabytes. Small photos that are just kind of grungy and different because everything's so perfect nowadays. So we want that. It gives it a sense of realism, and people want to kind of go back to that, which is cool, sad, kind of in a way. You know what I mean? We were talking about how like things have changing, and then people want to kind of go back to that retro feel because it is kind of too perfect.
There's a lot of things that kind of have that. Like even think about the music.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest hits last year was ABBA, Gimme, Gimme, Gimme.
I'm noticing a lot of music people are just kind of reverting back to old tunes, just repurposed in a different way.
Right.
You know, right now, what was it? Murder on the Dance Floor.
That's another one.
You know, and they're just remixed or they're different things. There's new music coming out, but it's just not, I don't know. And that's where I'm like,
I mean, I watched the Grammys last night and all I could think about was like, dang, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel, I mean, I'm getting old. All right. But I've never been like the get off my lawn type of person, you know? I'm definitely open to listening to new music. I think there's some good stuff out there, but I looked at last night and I was just like, dang, there's just not like a lot of what I feel is great music. Like, right. Not a lot of it. Not to say it's all bad.
No, and there's definitely still good stuff coming out, right? Like Lil Boo Thing, right? Brand new song, hit, great song, but what did it do? It revived a classic.
Yeah. Oh, let me just tell you real quick. Number one moment of the Grammys last night, if you did not go and see Luke Combs and Tracy Chapman,
boom,
that song gave me chills.
So good. That was so cool to see them collab on that.
So
I didn't watch the Grammys, but I watched that.
So
I
this
was
is
like, dang,
what,
I need to watch this.
dude. This is what was funny. Right before, because they had talked about during the commercial that you knew that was the song that was going to be played next, right? That they were going to do.
Cool, yeah.
So I told Monica, I was like, it would be so cool if Tracy Chapman just came out during the middle.
So they
of the
just
song.
advertised it as Luke Combs, or they just the song.
It
maybe?
was like the song
performance.
Yeah. It was
of
like
that, yeah.
live performance by or whatever, and you
Fast
knew it was going to be that.
Yeah.
And so I told Monica it would be so cool if she came out like during the song and played and started playing like a verse or something.
Mm-hmm.
They started with her, like you could see it, like when she started playing
exactly.
the guitar. I was like, oh my god, like no.
Mm-hmm. It was really, really cool to see that, but that just talks to it again, right? We're just reinventing old songs, and that's what people are kind of moving towards. I don't know.
There's just the creativity right now on music.
It's interesting though. I mean, I'm gonna play, like I have a high school event coming up, and I know I'm gonna be playing the freshest things, but I don't know. There's layers to it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Even in my time, I feel like the Tiestos, the Keshas, the Pitbull, that stuff was hitting all around.
Yeah,
Grandma loved that.
Yeah, great dance music during your time.
Yeah, but like even now, like what is popular? Like what's hitting right now? I'm trying to think.
Well, I mean, and what are we talking about? Like dance music?
Anything. Pop.
I mean, that's gonna be Dua Lipa, Taylor.
Yeah.
And
they're doing it, honestly.
But like
Dance the Night Away is gonna get grandma out there.
Miley took home
Flowers.
a bunch of stuff last night, but I didn't play Flowers a whole lot.
I played Flowers, but I played remixes of it.
Right.
I didn't play the original, but like.
But I played, and then even then I played more of that. Like when it came out earlier in the year,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I played any of that like past probably June or July.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know, just stuff that like we don't have any like kind of like iconics. Yeah,
it's not like bringing everyone together. They're good songs in their own lanes. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like it's
or
not.
They just hit for like a second. Even like right now, Dua Lipa, like Houdini. I mean, yeah, it's like
I was like, okay,
it's meh.
We got a new one, and then I'm like, I'd rather just play Dance the Night Away.
Right. I know that's exactly how I feel. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one here. Let's go to number 14, cocktail experiences.
Love this.
Incorporating, it says cocktails. What is that? Omakase cocktails into your wedding creates a dazzling drink experience. And basically they're saying we're going to see more and more like mocktails.
Yes. I think giving a mocktail and a cocktail option is really, really cool, and allowing your guests to really have a different kind of experience overall, right? They can enjoy a mocktail. Mocktails are nice.
Those of us with long COVID need a cocktail.
Yeah.
We can only have mocktails.
Hey, and it's nice to have something good to sip on, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look. So, fun fact, omakase is a Japanese dining term that translates to "I'll leave it up to you" or "chef's choice."
Ooh.
So I think that means it's kind of signature drinks.
Okay.
And
we have definitely been seeing a take on the signature drinks.
You know what I mean? Like that's where like the guest comes up to the bartender and says, "Give me your best drink. What do you got?" But then what I love is the incorporation of like the dogs, right? They're the Jamie, the Daya, right? I'm thinking
the Scooby-Doo.
The Scooby-Doo. And then they have them on the napkins, but it's them. So it's a great way to incorporate your pets.
What would you put in the Scooby-Doo?
You know, I'd put I would find a way to get a Scooby snack on it. I think that could be really cool. But how would it would like melt, right? So maybe the Scooby-Doo would be like a milk drink. Not like a milk, but like a
It can be like a
horchata. I don't know. A Kahlua.
That's the El Scooby-Doo.
El Scooby-Doo. Horchata and Scooby.
El Perro.
El Perro Doo. That's pretty funny. No, I don't know. I was thinking like Kahlua.
All right.
Or what do you think?
I don't know.
It'd be like I would go with a scary drink. Something like a melon liqueur. So it'd look like green.
Something ghostly.
Yeah. Or it would look like the Mystery Machine. You'd have to go with color for sure.
All right. We're gonna come back in a future episode and we're gonna tell you
Mocktails,
how to make the Scooby-Doo.
We'll be making the Scooby-Doo live.
Okay, number 16 on their list is wedding content creators. And so I've heard a lot of talk about this, just within the industry itself. like with vendors. Like I've seen a lot of DJs that keep asking the question, how many of you are hiring content creators like to basically follow DJs and get behind the scenes or get
Just shoot for you.
content footage for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this one is talking about doing it for your event, for as a
I
couple.
love it. I think it's so cool having just somebody to generate and collect content for you, because yes, you want these beautiful curated photos from your photography team. Of course, that's why you hire a professional, but it's nice to get the raw in the weeds stuff. And I feel like it's a great way to people. The idea with the hashtag, right, was you wanted to get your wedding from their point of view. You wanted to see their perspective, and you wanted to kind of experience it from their eyes.
Right.
And I think this content creator allows you to achieve that without having to put out these expectations of like, hey, you need to post, because one, that's not happening. That hashtag thing is gone. It was a little while, but now it's just on its way out. And if you have somebody who's dedicated there, taking vertical video, photos, raw images of you getting ready, or, like just like behind the scenes kind of stuff, and then putting that together as like a TikTok that you can share. People love to share their stuff right away versus
Right.
waiting 4 months for your photos and all of that. So it'd be nice to have a content curator. I honestly really like that. Just paying somebody to follow everyone around and get all that fun stuff, because it's just a content world nowadays, and we love to look at it.
Well, and it's interesting how wedding content has been viewed and changed over the years. So I remember, really, even still, like when Monica and I got married, which is going to be 20 years this year.
Woo, woo, woo. Hell yeah.
I may or may not have been reminded of that yesterday, but back, when we got married, you're still using basically cams, like camcorders. Okay. So
Cameras.
It wasn't the big ones. We had gotten to the smaller ones, but it was still, you would put it in your hand like this, right?
Definitely. I had one.
But I remember the big, huge camcorders.
I had those in.
Yeah. And then you would have hours of footage, right? Like I'd have 8 hours of footage.
Yeah.
Like that you never watch.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really cool because we actually had somebody that went to our wedding, and he was like a kind of a, I don't know, if you want to call him a content creator, that's what he would be considered now. And he made a shorter version of the reception.
Kind of like a highlight reel.
It was like a highlight reel, and it was like 15 minutes. And that was like really one of the first times I'd ever seen that take place. And then everything kind of moved to that, right? To where you were doing these, 20-minute
little
recaps of the day,
mm-hmm.
and the storytelling, and the videographer took a much more prominent role. The storytelling videographer.
Yeah.
And I still think we see that more so today.
Oh, yeah.
But we're really moving to like you just said, these short clip versions where we're putting them on these social media outlets where we just want to see something for 30 seconds.
We like to express ourselves and want to post something, right? I'm lucky enough to where, because I'll have that like little itch where I'm like, I want to post something, right? I want to just put something out, whatever that may be. And so, yeah, in a world where we want to post things, it's nice to have content that is postable, get it right away, and it's just an evolution of storytelling. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So cool. All right. Well, I think we're going to end this segment there.
Nice.
So we can move on.
Oh, yeah.
And take it back, because where we're going, we don't need roads.
88 miles per hour.
Cool. All right. So that's our segment of How Old Is It? I hope I made you all feel super old out there.
I like it.
Yeah. And we'll do this from time to time. They won't all be 30 years old. I just figured we'd start super old.
I like it. Yeah, that's a good one. Because
but
then next we could do 20.
That's what I was going to say. I think when we get into like the 20s, you're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
really the 30 hits you like at my age when you're in your 40s, right? Or mid 40s, because that was your time like in high school.
Yeah.
And I think the 20s, it's going to be like, yeah, some of the songs we have lined up, it just, you're like, no way.
You would
Didn't that
never
just come,
think.
Didn't that just come out like 5 years ago, right?
Have you seen that TikTok of certain songs that came out in like 03?
I don't.
So it's just these guys going off on a pod, but they're like, all these songs that came out in 2003, and it's like My Boo, Usher, and they were like, how did we? They rally off all of these different songs, and they were like, what was anybody doing? They must have just been partying the whole time. Tipsy was one of them.
Oh yeah.
Watch, maybe I can be quick about it. What year did Tipsy come out? Yeah. Now, when did this come out, ladies and gents?
This is Mara from last week's Jam.
04.
Yeah. So that's 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So,
Or,
yeah.
I meant 20 years ago.
So that's something we will bring up next because, honestly, these are all huge.
Yeah, there's some
It's
good
a good
ones.
tease.
Yep. So I like it. All right. This episode has run a little bit longer than
Whoops.
normal, but we were having fun.
Yeah, we're going off.
Time
Good
flies when you're having
content,
fun.
honestly.
Yeah, it was good.
The topic was really nice.
I hope you guys got something out of it today. Had a lot of fun with that one. So I don't know. Let's do it again next week just for fun.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. We'll see you.
Thanks for checking out the Cutmaster Cast podcast. Make sure you stay tuned with all things related at www.cutmastermusic.com.